be cuddled. Hello. Say hello. Oh, you're my little friend. I love you, little one. I love you. Hello and welcome to the Gussets and Go Days podcast, episode 25. My name is Christina and this is my podcast about my knitting, stitching and crafting. We're in January now, second week I think, and I took part in Vlogmas as much as I could in December. It was really lovely to test my video editing capabilities. That was fun. And just to record little snippets of my day to share with you, little bits of my home, and seeing as December is the only month of the year that I have any social obligations, to film those because, get dressed up and it's fun. I have spent the last couple of weeks madly making. I don't know what's gone on. I don't know what happened. I was feeling a bit meh about my project and then suddenly the new year hit and I have blitzed through so many projects. So I'm going to show you a couple. That's one of my favourites. Right there. so pretty. Managed to make a few wearable things. This was a beauty school top that I made a little while ago, and when you wear something you kind of you realise what's right and wrong about it, I think. So really, whether I sew or knit something, I should always make it a second time because it's always, massively better the second time. So I knit it again. This time I knit it in the Dandelion and Dogwood. Their colour Anxiety is a Liar, which is the perfect grey. Perfect grey. So lovely. It is a little bit plumper than the yarn I used for this one. This one was a Beehive Yarns, and it came out a smidgen bigger, which I prefer. I added short rows in the back, which was not in the pattern, because I think where I'm broad in my back, it kind of lifts it up. So at the bottom here, you can kind of see, you probably can't see, hoping you can't see any short rows in the back, but it just means that, oh wait, that was the front. That's why you couldn't see them. There you go. Yeah, there we go. Some short rows. They don't look great, but when it's on, truly you do not see it. This, so beautiful. I loved working with the yarn, and I took this with me when I went to the Lay Family Yarn retreat, which was so beautiful. I absolutely adored it. I met loads of people who are amazing, and I was so out of my comfort zone, but that's kind of part of it, right? And friends were always strangers once. So, anyway, when the yarn arrived, I thought they were all the same colour in the skein. Of course, in dyed yarn, they do come up slightly different. So I should have alternated much more than I did, but it doesn't matter. So in the screen, I think it comes up best on the sleeve. So this was the lightest ball and this was the darkest ball, and there was 3 balls. 3 skeins I balled up. So I should have gone light, then middle, then the darkest, and then you wouldn't have seen so much of a transition. So that's good for future. There is no way I would know how to alternate skeins whilst doing short rows on a sleeve head. That's literally never going to happen. But in person, you really do not see that. It's you do see it very slightly, but you don't notice it when it's on. So really beautiful, really cute, fits like almost exactly the same as this. I then unravelled a little bit of this and lengthened it a tiny bit here, and I did the short rows on the back here. Lovely jubbly. I used kinky yarn, which is why it looks a bit odd, and I have blocked it, but once I've, you know, washed it a few times, it will be fine. No one's going to notice that. So that's the knitting that I have done. I've got a project I'm so excited to start, but I've not started it yet. I don't have the yarn to show you, so that will wait. Hopefully next week, or if it comes in the next week, I will podcast again just so I can show you, because I'm so excited. Anyway, oh, I promised myself that I would make really, really wearable garments, because in the past I've made really frivolous makes. Sorry, Nina, we have got a squirrel who wants to live in our house but is not allowed, and Nina does not like the scratchy squirrel. Oh, I'm sorry, Nina. Her face is like anyway, you're right. Oh yeah, I promised myself that I would make really, really wearable things, and then I made this, which the wearability of a frivolous dressing gown is maybe questionable, but I don't care. I used a McCall's pattern. It's a modern pattern. I would wear a UK size 14 if I was to buy clothes in the shop, and I made the large size McCall's M7 875, and I made the, let's see if that will focus, I made the dressing gown. Fantastic. I don't know if you can see on the screen, and I will take some footage of me wearing it, because I think you can't really see things properly unless you're wearing them, and you see them like swishing about. So all of this is quilted on the neck, on the collar. I should have bought pre-quilted fabric. I did not. I quilted all of this on my machine, which I don't think you can see, but the belt is the same, so I'll show you the belt. So all that quilting I had to do. Really laborious, not so bad on the belt. However, on the collar, that was something. But I've managed it. It is completely stupid and frivolous, and I'm gonna wear it all the time. It's not a winter dressing gown, just because you get cold on this part. I much prefer a nice jumper in the winter. But anyway, did I do any alterations to the pattern? No, I made it as it was, but I didn't have enough fabric for the skirt because it is so full. I mean, there is so much fabric in this skirt, it's unreal. Completely unnecessary for a dressing gown. That's why I love it. So I think, is there 1, 2, I think there's 3 panels for the skirt, and I think I took 6 inches out of the width of each one at the hem and left the waist the same. So I just kind of took a wedge out just so I could fit it in my fabric, and still I could have taken easily another 12 inches out and you wouldn't have even noticed. It's so full. Anyway, that was a lot of fun to make. I made it in a day, not including the quilting. I made all the quilting bits in one afternoon and evening, and then I whacked it all together in one afternoon the next day. So that was a really, really fun make. The fabric I got from Watson and Thornton. It's my local fabric shop, really small, cute little fabric shop in Shrewsbury. And yeah, I wanted something that was bold and slightly ridiculous because it's a dressing gown. Dressing gowns and tea towels should be bold and ridiculous because why not? Why not? So that was a really fun make. And then in comparison to the very unpractical item of this, I then sewed an ironing board cover. And it's probably the most boring thing I've ever made. And now I love it. I had an old tatty ironing board cover. It was horrible, really horrible. And it was stained. And actually, even when I bought it, I promised myself that I would recover it. Never happened. It's nearly been 2 years that I've been in this house. And I bought it the week we moved in Wilkinson's, with a really disgusting cover. So now I love it so much. It took me an hour to do that, and it was worth every second. This has made me want to sew more and press everything. It looks beautiful. I'm going to show you. Because obviously what you really want to see is my ironing board. Oh, isn't it lovely? And I put some cotton batting. I put 2 layers underneath it, just to give it a squidge, because when I iron blouses with buttons, I lay the buttons down, kind of touching the fabric, and I iron the back, and they just like squidge in really nicely, so I can get really, really nice press. And it was so worth it. I'm going to be killed by an ironing board. Anyway, if you've been thinking of recovering your ironing board, do it now. So I just copied the way it was made. I just turned over the edge and did a top stitch, and there is just a polyester cord in there. It is the tiniest bit flappy, so I've ordered some elastic clips so that you clip one on here, the elastic goes around the back, and then you clip it on the other side, and then it will tension the 2 sides together. We have those at work on our industrial ironing boards, which is what gave me the idea. I've not seen them on a domestic one before. That is fine. It is fantastic. I did make it a smidgen wide, maybe ½ inch wider on each side than the original one. I like to have that little bit of extra overlap. And the lovely batting just kind of curves over the very top edge, so there's no sharp edge on there. This was completely worth it. I had no pattern for this. I just, whacked it together. There we go. Just keep her there, just, for decorative purposes. And, what else have we got to show? Oh, we've got 2 more things. Okay, so I really wanted to try and make a blouse. Just a really simple, elegant little blouse that was neither vintage nor modern, just wear it with anything. And I found the camp shirt and dress pattern. You can use this for both, by Leal & Co. And I had bought it on the Foldline website, and then I had them print it for me. They print it in sheets of very thick paper, and then you have to trace it off, and I use Swedish tracing paper, which you can see through quite well. This ended up being much more expensive because it's an indie pattern, which is always more expensive anyway, plus then the printing. It's on massive sheets of paper, so you do not have to stick together, which, let's be honest, I hate it. A lot of people do not like it. So Leal & Co. Camp dress and shirt. They sent me this lovely envelope with it in, so you can write all your details. All I've got on there is what it is. I do need to start writing notes on my pattern envelopes, which I do with my knitting. When I knit something, I write masses and masses of notes as I'm making it, and what alterations I've made to it. When I sew, I do the alterations to the pattern, they go back in the envelope. I have no idea what's been done to it or whether it worked or not. There's no referencing. If I let something out, I don't adjust the pattern, I just let it out on the garment. So when I go back to it, it can be really difficult. So I do need to make that little bit more of an effort with my sewing. I can't tell you how many times with my knitting it has been invaluable to go back and read whether it's gauge or how many stitches I used, because if I then use the same yarn, I can compare it. If I knit the same thing again, I can compare it. It has just saved me so many times, so I really do need to do that with my sewing. Anyway, shirt. It's made with a viscose. No, it's not a lawn, it's a viscose. It's so fine and floaty. I think I've made one other thing in viscose before. Not the easiest fabric to cut. Not bad to sew with. Doesn't fray too badly, but it's a bit slippy. It is a simple blouse, which you will have seen if you watched my Vlogmas. I used some really cute little buttons, and I added, it did have a bust dart here already. I added a little dart underneath there and darts in the back as well. There's a lovely little pleat. Again, I should probably show you it worn, but I can wear this loose on top of something, I can wear it tucked into something. It has been worn already a few times. The only thing with viscose is the ironing. You really have to iron it after you wash it. That is incredibly irritating because I'm a naturally very lazy person in terms of ironing and other houseworky chores. Anyway. I've got one last project that I want to show you. I have actually made a few other things, but let's not go on too long and bore you all. So I needed a winter coat. I was desperate for a winter coat. What did I do with that? And I had this pattern. This is a Vintage Simplicity pattern. And I love this. It's beautiful. I'm feeling like it's very Kim Novak. She was an actress, and the film I'm thinking of is Vertigo. She has this beautiful, very luxurious white, presumably cashmere coat, and she looks fabulous in it. I don't think she ties it at the waist. I think she wears it A-line. Might be wrong. Anyway. I wanted something chic. I feel like my style over kind of the last year with doing kind of crazy working hours and not spending time at home for long periods of time, for like a few days at a time. I've been very, very lazy with what I've been making. And I didn't have a winter coat, and I did not have things that I really, really loved. I had a few things, but then they didn't have anything to go with, and it's probably really boring to you. I just want things in my wardrobe. I can pull them out and they go with stuff. That's all I wanted. They go with stuff. Really simple. So I wanted a grey coat. I went to Abercan and I found some beautiful grey, I think it's wool polyester mix. And I found a lovely polyester silk lining in a leopard in grey. This is a size 18. I cut it as is. I didn't even make a sample. No toiling. Would not recommend. It kind of worked out perfect. And this is it. The fabric has got a little bit of a kind of brushed look, slight mild, it's not a block colour. And then wherever I could, I've top stitched edges. This is just the belt. And the coat, oh, it's beautiful. I top stitched all the edges on the collar, the lapel, and the lovely lining. I have adored wearing this. Got some gorgeous pockets. Little bit kind of dressing gowny, but that was what I was looking for, and it's just fantastic. I made this completely out of necessity because it's been absolutely freezing and I had no winter coat. It's quite embarrassing actually. I have a vintage one. I'm slightly afraid moths have gotten at it, so it's been banished to my dad's flat and I'm not taking it out of there. It's not coming into my house where there is woolens. It should probably go in the freezer. Gosh, anyway. There are, I don't know what to say about it. It's really easy to make a raglan sleeved coat. This is the raglan. It's where you have a seam across here. There's no set-in sleeve where you have to gather the sleeve head and kind of fit it in smoothly, and because my shoulders sit forward, a normal person's shoulder sits this way and mine sits forward, I sometimes have difficulty with a set-in sleeve on a woven. So this was the beautiful compromise. I feel it's very like Max Mara. The pattern has got these gorgeous, these gorgeous darts. I didn't add them, that's part of the pattern. Brilliant idea. That's not something I would usually see on a modern coat. And it's just so fabulous. Oh, Nina, that has gone awry, hasn't it? She's been very disruptive. Not as disruptive as the squirrels. My little boo-boo. And in general, I don't like a jazzy lining. But that makes me so happy. Look. Ooh. I've got enough fabric left to make a silk scarf. So I could wear it and tie in a knot and just, oh, with the big glasses. I mean, if you're gonna go ridiculous, you may as well just throw complete caution to the wind and behave badly. Anyway, oh, I have one last thing actually. I completely forgot because I'm wearing it. In the theme of making wearable things, I needed some bottom half separates. So I made this skirt. And it is, instead of a cycle skirt, it's 3/4, because that is all I had the fabric for. The seams go through here, and then one in the centre back. The grains are completely opposite in the back. One goes down, one goes across. I don't even care. I don't even care. I picked my favourite piece for the front part. I held each one in front and decided which one was the best. This piece won, and it's been really practical. I hemmed it with a facing. So there's a top stitch edge here. Could have hand finished it, didn't. Wanted to wear it that day for work. So I whizzed around on the sewing machine, and that actually could have been a real disaster, but no, it's fine, it's fine. And now I can wear it all the time, and it goes with so many things. Probably not with grey on top, because I feel like grey on grey on grey with grey mittens, oh, it's too much. Too much grey. Needs a bit of, a little something to lift it. Now I'm rambling. When you start rambling, it's the end of the podcast, because no one wants to hear me wittering on. Anyway, I'm going to check in with you soon, because I've got a pair of trousers to show you, and I can't wait to show you that. And I've got 2 knitwear projects. One I started last night because I just had to, which is going slightly wrong. Part of the process, I'm happy with that. It's not going wrong, it's just, laborious, and the other one I'm going to start next week, which I can't wait. So give me a week and I'll be back with you. I really actually want to update my my intro, and I've tried to film something else, but the light is just not good enough, the winter light. So once we get a little bit of sunshine in the spring, I'm going to redo the intro with the new music and try and kind of upgrade the podcast a little bit. This is still on my phone. I've figured out the editing software now, so that is a huge bonus. I just need to figure out the camera usage. It's got an app on my phone and everything. It's like very high tech. And I am the least techie person ever. I just press buttons until things happen. Anyway, moving on. Lovely to see you. Thank you so much for watching the podcast, and thank you so much to anyone who watched my Vlogmas. Truly, I absolutely adored doing it and connecting with you all, and if you ever left a comment, I really appreciate it. So sending my love to you all and wishing you a happy new year, belatedly. And yeah, let's get crafting for the new year. Bye guys.